everyone. Welcome to the next video. And here we go. Okay, so let's do another thing from my book about sitting poses. Of course, those are brief. Going to be brief explanation of how to draw seated poses and so on. And much more nuances you have, of course, in my book. So far, today I'm going to use different medium. As you can see, it is kind of automatic pen, but kind of, very massive. I like this kind of pencils because I feel really very well the medium in my hand. So it's much more better than any kind of, light pencils or something. At least it's preference, personal preference, of course. But is wanted to try. Just always keep the sharp nib, yeah, because that's very important, especially when you do the kind of light, first contours and so on. Okay, so seated poses. You already know how to do standing poses, yes, from profile, from the front, and from three-quarter. So seated pose, let's start first the frontal view. So, well, I'm going to go with the ellipse of the head, of course, yes, something around those lines, yeah. And we go, yes, let's say the person is seated straight. So it's going to be exactly 4 heads approximately to the seat level, isn't it? Yes, some of them, come here. And now let's go further. So the width, you know already this stuff, yes, proportions. So you have less or more, you have until the level of seated, you have this form. 1/3, of course, you have there for the shoulders, yes. If you put this triangle, for what is for the neck. And now you divide it in half this part, and you have a pelvis there approximately, yes, less or more. So we have this kind of divisions. Now, let's draw the same from the profile, yes, from the profile there. So we just simply transfer from one side to the other, the form. So I'm going to do it from the side, from the profile, the person seated. So I have one ellipse, yes, as I drew the profile. I have another ellipse the same because I'm drawing profile, isn't it? Now, from the intersection of both, I have normal seated person, we're going to have this kind of form of the spine. So do I have 4 heads approximately here? Yeah, less or more is fine. And I have the shoulders somewhere there, isn't it? So now if I take this kind of size of the first ellipse, of course, this horizontal size of the ellipse, I can assume that my thoracic cage and the thickness of my, of course, forms like thoracic cage and the pelvis is going to have less or more this kind of form, isn't it? And from there, of course, you have the arm coming out, isn't it? So it's exactly in these places here. So now, when you draw seated poses, of course, the problem is always with the tides. So look how it works. You have one ellipse, you have another ellipse, yes? So if you would go kind of along, so the next ellipse is going to be here, next head is here, another head is here, and the third head is there, yeah? And now you see, you have certain space taken by the head, ellipse of the head. So now horizontally the same, you add here and you add there, and you're going to be in front of the knees. Yes, this is front of the knees, the two horizontally put ellipses of the head, yes, added to the vertical ellipse here. So now, from the lower level, you add 2 more heads, yes, yeah, and you have approximately position of the feet, yeah, the heels and the feet, in condition that they are placed, horizontally on the floor. So in this case, what is problematic here is the passage of the tide, yes, to the knee. And you have to always look at this space. So the folds from which the tides coming out towards you from the pelvis and the top of the knee. And those spaces, if you do not measure, it seems to you like a very large space. Yes, very large space. Yeah, it's going to seem to you like your knee is somewhere here and so on and so on. Visually, you're going to see a lot of the tide, which if you measure, you're going to see that the tide from the ellipse of the tide to the knee, you have very short space. And that's what you have to measure. Yeah, with your pencil or something. Yeah, you take the measurements. Yeah, with the finger, and you can kind of find out. So what is the technique to apply to it? Well, I know that the floor is somewhere there, isn't it? Yes, somewhere here. So I take the same ellipse as the head is, and I put it 45-degree angle here. So I put it the ellipse one here, for example, and another over there. Yes. So I have approximate, assuming that the legs are together. If you spread the legs, of course, you're going to have this ellipses a little bit farther, isn't it? Yes, a little bit farther. And you're going to have space here for the pubic to be visible. But let's assume that you have the legs close together. So you're going to have one and you're going to have another. And now you know that the folds are somewhere here. So if you sit it straight as this pose is, so your knee is somewhere here, isn't it? Yeah, on this level. Yeah, okay. So now the size of the knee, you know what is it, isn't it? Yes. Okay, it's the two circles and the ellipse in circumscribed the same. So now you see if there's any space between the knees. If the knees are completely tight together, so from the top, you will have the tight like this, and another tight like that. This is the pelvis. Yeah, use your head, use the shoulders. You from the top, you have the knees there. And let's say they're together. So you're going to have, of course, together one knee here and another knee there. Yes. And now, of course, you're going to have the calves. Yes, calves. So now it depends. If the heels are together, so you're going to have slight angle here and slight angle there, and you're going to have the heels and the heels touching each other. Yes. And of course, you're going to have a little bit lower out there. You're going to have the toes there, and you're going to have one foot and another foot approximately. And of course, you go now with the tight there, yeah, and the ankle there. You go with the tight form and everything. So the same is here, the same is here, and the same is there. So that's brief. So now if you want to kind of complete this figure, the schema, so you go there, you have the neck there, you add half of the head to one side, half of to the other, you're going to have the arms. Now, let's say you're going to have the arms this way, yes? So you have the third head somewhere there, so it's going to be less or more somewhere there, you're going to be have the ankle, sorry, not ankle, but the elbow. And now the same space you added here, you have the wrist, and to wrist you add the form of the hand. So you're going to have approximately this kind of, symbolic form of this, of course, arm. And now if you draw this neck, of course, you're going to have this, yes. So you have the muscles there, yes. Those are the muscles coming, those ones, yeah. They're coming even higher a little bit, yes. The muscles, which, arm muscles, yes. The neck muscles. Neck is here, getting inside. You have the two bones, one and the other in front, and you have the chest somewhere there for the men. For the ladies, it's going to be a little bit low. So, and now you can go and thoracic cage, you're going to have somewhere here. And the pelvis is, of course, there. And from the pelvis comes, of course, the tights, and you have here the knee. Yes, and now from the profile, you're going to have something around those lines. Yeah, so you have the calves to halfway of the calf is the muscle, and after they go this way, and you have the heel. And from there, you have kind of schematically, it's going to be less or more this kind of form of the leg from the profile. Of course, here you're going to have the buttocks, you're going to have the tight a little bit there, and the nuances, of course, of the tight and the hips there, because from here you will have, first of all, the buttock is going to be flat there, so you're going to have kind of flat line, and the tight is going to go kind of under the knees, so you're going to have kind of, going a little bit under the knees, so you're going to have this here, this kind of, connections between one part of the leg and the other part of the leg. And you're going to have the hips there, yeah, the hips there somewhere there. You have belly button somewhere here on the third part, and so on. So if you want to do the arm, of course you will go, it's somewhere there is one arm and another going to be there, yeah, and you have, of course, the profile over there of the hand or something. Yes, so that's approximately how you will kind of construct the seated pose. And now in 3D, how it would look in 3D? Well, look, imagine yourself that the person is sitting in three-quarter like that, yeah? So you can go, well, you can start actually with the head. Yes, I didn't start with the head. So let's just maybe sketch the head here. Yeah, so you have head, isn't it? And now, let's say you have half profile. So if this is the symmetry here, so half of it going to be at there. So we have, the space which you move from the center, you're going to add here. So you're going to have the head rather in the sky this way, and you have, of course, the spinal cord less or more that way, and you go 1, 2, 3. Yes, so the base is going to be somewhere here, isn't it? But now would you see it? Of course, you're going to always take vertical alignment against the head to see where the forms are, but you're gonna see something around those kind. Yes, so let's say 1/3 here, so it's going to be somewhere on this level. Yes, half of it is going to be for thoracic cage, and half of it going to be for the pelvis. So you're going to have something like this, except that here you see a little bit the side, and the same you're going to have somewhere here. Yeah, okay, and same going to have somewhere there. Yeah. So you have something around those lines. Of course, you have this kind of triangle there. So the neck stops here, the other stops here, and from there you go the neck. You have the muscles over there. You have one arm added. You have another arm added here. Yes. So now you have this and you have that. Yes. And now you have, it depends. Now we're going to do something like this. The position of the seated person is a little bit, yes, from the side we see, yeah? But let's make one leg is going to have that way, and another going to be frontal to you, okay? So I know that here I have to add two heads vertically, and I have a heel, yes? Over there, where is the heel? Well, look, you have here one head, yes? One head, yeah? You remember this part when I was showing you how the heads go? So now you add one head and another head, and over there you have the knee. Yes? Okay. And of course, here, of course, everything is less or more. Okay, yes. And you have the same level for the heel. So the heel is going to be somewhere there, and the foot, of course, going to go that way. But here you're going to have what? You're going to have the tide going this way, and here it's going to go that way. And of course, you have the calf here and the, the nuances of the leg. And this is in front. You see, this knee, you have the space approximately the same as we had here, yeah, somewhere like this. So now on this level, you're going to have a knee here, you see, yeah, and you have the calf. So you go with the calf, yes, over there. You have a calf, yes, to the heel, yeah. And of course, the tight here going to go a little bit lower because when you sit, you smash the buttocks, you smash, of course, a little bit, all the seat and the tights and everything. So you have the hips here, you have the hip there, you have that, and you have, of course, your thoracic cage somewhere, this way and so on. Yeah, and you have seated pose. If you talk about the arm, so we have approximately, that's the belly button. So if you go this way, you're going to have somewhere here the elbow. You have the other part, yes. So you can go parallelly, and you have the hand, approximately the form. Of course, you can draw with the other one. Where is it adequately? Yes, something, let's say like this and like this, briefly. Yes. So Of course, you might have different seated position. Yes, you might have different seated position. So, for example, if I would like to conclude, I would like to conclude this part about seated positions. For example, draw something a little bit much more from the top, from different angle. So let's draw now the head, of course, a little bit from the top. So perpendicularly, yes. And now I see a little bit from the top. Let's say I will see everything from that angle. So I would have the head, let's say, is 3/4, so it's going to be somewhere there. So this is the vertical line. So I just shorten a little bit the head from this point of view. Another thing I'm going to do, the line of the eye is going to be in the middle. But if I see this slightly from the top, so my eye line going to be lower, isn't it? The nose is going to be somewhere there, and the lips going to be somewhere there. So I'm going to see everything a little bit from the top. Yes, the neck is there. Yeah. So 1/3 going to be now somewhere like this. Yes, 3/4 pose. But because I see this from the top, so I'm going to have something, well, a little bit shorter, somewhere like this. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, let's go with the spinal cord. So we're going to have something around those lines. Yeah, something around those lines, something around those lines here from the top. Okay, from the top is the head. Yeah. And now 1, 2, 3 heads. So somewhere there I have the pelvis. Yes. So divided in half, divided in half. So somewhere there I see the side. I see the side over there of the thoracic cage and so on. Yes. Here is the arm coming. Of course, from here I'm going to have this kind of, the triangle. We're going to put it so we know that this neck comes like this. And like that, you have the muscles here and so on, and you have the thoracic cage. Here you see a little bit the top of the thoracic cage from the top, isn't it? Yes. Sorry, the pelvis, not thoracic cage, but pelvis. And now you sit it. Oops, sorry. You sit it approximately this way. Yeah, that's the central line of the pubic. Yes, somewhere there. So now look, you add one ellipse that way, another ellipse that way, and now you go with the tights. So you might see one leg like this, one leg, let's say, go that way, isn't it? And as you have one ellipse here, so you add 1 and 2 there, where is what? The knee, where is going to be the knee here? Yes. And now, of course, over there, you see, if you go parallelly, because you don't draw in perspective this, so the other knee going to be where? Over there. Yes. So you have one knee here, another knee is there. And from those knees, you go with less or more 1, 2 heads. So it's going to be a bit shorter. Somewhere there you have the heel. And the same you're going to have here, 1, 2, somewhere there is going to have the heel. So now you see, for example, here the foot less or more that way. Yes, a little bit raised up. And here you can see the foot a little bit, this way. And you go, of course, with the calf, yes, over there, how it goes, yes. And you go with the calf over there, how it goes, yeah. So we have kind of seated pose, a little bit seeing from the top. You're going to have the tide, you connect the tide a little bit here and there, yeah. Okay, all these nuances. Also here, you can make it a little bit larger. You're going to have the hips there, you're going to have the hips there, and we're going to have the thoracic cage, all the rest. So now, if you have an arm, you go there, and now you have third head somewhere there, you will go with this. Somewhere there, you're going to have, elbow. From the elbow, another the space. So you go. This is conical one for arm, and you have the form of the hand, isn't it? Yes. So the other, of course, if you have the hand, for example, you pose on your thigh. Yes. So look where you have the elbow. Yes. It might be in the middle or might be a little bit lower. Anyway, if you go like this, so you know that the upper arm is here. So you see, you're going to have slight shortening over there, the forearm. Yes. Because it's going a little bit towards you. This is much more from the profile. So you have the same parts here. You would have one part. Yeah. And the other would be the part of the forearm is going to be a little bit shortened because you're going to see this much more in front. So anyway, of course, in my book, if you look at my book, there's many, much more in details explain everything. But this is kind of the main, process of constructing, constructing, of course, the seated poses. when before you start drawing, of course, much more realistically and everything, you have to learn those schemas, yes, to kind of lead you a little bit through the entire process, and after transfer this in 3D, not necessarily in perspective, but much more, you know, in axonometric way, isometric way, where everything is parallel, whatever you, whichever direction you go. So smile and draw, and see you next time.